sorry, I take it back, I can't identify with that at all. If you're not all right, can I get a moan of pain? No, all right, wow, right. You're all just meh. Okay, cool. I'm glad most of you are sort of well. I'm not, mentally, or obviously physically. I've got a bit of a weird brain. It gets very, very preoccupied with things that really aren't worth its time. It's the master of the completely unsolicited deep dive, my brain. But I have a coping mechanism. I do, and I would recommend this to any of you, stand-up comedy. It immediately lends all of my neuroses a bit of gravitas because I'm talking about them into a microphone rather than to my therapist like I should be. The thing that my brain's been preoccupied about lately, though, is a certain poem and what I think it says about us as a society and as a species. I didn't write this poem, it's a traditional one, you probably know it, okay? And it starts like this. Monday's child, yeah, is fair of face. That's nice, isn't it? Monday's child is fair of face. That's a nice thing to say, a good start. Monday's child is fair of face. If you're born on a Monday, you're probably very attractive. At least I assume that's what they mean by fair, but fair can have a few different meanings, can't it? Fair can mean just okay. An appropriate answer to how was the Ed Sheeran concert? Fair, you know? It could be that Monday's child has a passable face, which it's almost a bit passive-aggressive putting that in a poem, isn't it? You can see, though, how dense with meaning this poem is. Monday's child, fair of face. Fair can also mean blonde, or it can mean a travelling carnival. Neither of which can really be applied to a face, can they? So I think we can rule those ones out. And of course, fair can mean, I suppose, the opposite of unfair. So it could be that Monday's child has the face they deserve. Or that in terms of faces, Monday's child is not unjustly disadvantaged. Monday's child, like most children, has a face. You can see, though, how meaningful this poem is. You can see why it's been percolating around my brain for so long. Did I say percolating? Yes, I did. Do I say percolating every time I do the set? Yes, I do. Is it the right word? Not sure. We move on, okay? Monday's child is fair of face. Tuesday's child, full of grace. That's nice too, isn't it? 2 for 2. Love that for them. Tuesday's child is full of grace. If you're born on a Tuesday, your body's very graceful. You're probably very good at dancing or football, stripping or something. Sorry, I don't know why I looked directly at you when I said that. Actually, if you want to be a stripper, you're best being born right on the cusp between Monday and Tuesday, because then you'd have both the attractive face and the graceful. I might be overthinking this, to be honest. If you know this poem, you know where we're going with it now. Okay, Wednesday's child, not attractive, not graceful. Wednesday's child is full of woe. And it's not even woe like Keanu Reeves, like, whoa, no. It's woe as in misery. If you're born on a Wednesday, your defining feature is that you're miserable. Fuck you if you were born on a Wednesday, according to tradition. So I was born on a Wednesday. Thanks, yeah. I was ADAB, assigned depressed at birth, and in my defence, I have met, if not surpassed, my potential, so go me. To quickly finish off the poem, Thursday's child has far to go. If you're born on a Thursday, you pop out of your mother's downstairs area, the midwife immediately kicks you, drop kicks you way across the field, the crowd goes wild. That's what happens if you're born on a Thursday. Friday's child is loving and giving, so if it's not so much stripping as sex work you're into, ideally you'd want to be born on a Friday. Saturday's child works hard for a living. He has to, because he's not attractive or graceful or kind, but at least he wasn't born on a Wednesday. And finally, the child that was born on the Sabbath day is bonny and blithe and good and homosexual, and that's the end of that poem. What a load of rubbish. Don't get me wrong, I think it's absolutely fascinating and delightful the way we as humans find meaning and patterns in things. But it can lead us to doing illogical stuff like attempting to put human beings into categories. And that just seems like a fool's errand. I mean, what? Should I be alphabetizing you? I bet you're not in alphabetical order, are you? I bet you didn't even sit in alphabetical order What am I supposed to do with you? You absolutely cannot colour code people, that's just racism. But people still try and put other people in categories. Like, for instance, I don't know about you, but I have some personality traits. Yeah. I have some tendencies. Yeah. There are some things about me. And a lot of people would tell you that all of those personality traits, all those tendencies, all those things about me were preordained by the zodiac sign that I was born under. And I don't think that I'm an exceptionally complex person, but I don't think that my horoscope can account for all of me. Like, when I recently put both my hands in the bin in a public bathroom because I thought it was a Dyson Airblade, my first thought wasn't, typical Gemini. No. And my first thought was, why is there half a Nando's in here? Weird thing to do, eat Nando's in the toilet. But that person was a Libra. Am I right? No, I'm not, because it's bollocks. So, we need better ways of categorising people, you know, if we must categorise people. And my pitch for this, okay, bear with me, the Dewey Decimal System. For those of you who don't know, the Dewey Decimal System is the system that librarians traditionally use to categorise different types of books. And I'm not saying that I identify more with books than I do with human beings, but I'm absolutely saying that. Are you surprised? Look at me. I think I could only come across more like a librarian if every time you laughed I shushed you. But yeah, the Dewey Decimal System, 999 categories, still not enough, but better than 12 or 7. And it's a lot less cryptic. I think it kind of works. I've made some tentative forays into this. I've started assigning a few people Dewey Decimal numbers. Yeah, my crush, I've got under 611, anatomy. My ex, 616, diseases. And for myself, I wasn't sure, but in the end I went with 157. That's previously emotions and now no longer used. Oh, that's what every stand-up comedian wants. Pity. Oh, where was I? Lost my plot. I've lost my plot now. I have no plot. I'm all character. Dewey Decimal System. What comes after the Dewey Decimal System? Who knows? This is exciting, isn't it? Anything could happen. Absolutely anything could happen. I could do crowd work. I'm really bad at it. Do you like weather? Yeah, see, I don't know. I don't know how to do crowd. I could roast you. I'll roast you. Can I roast you? Is that all right? A band you like is probably derivative. Look at you there with your face on the front of your head. What a cliche. Oh yeah, I know what I was going to say. I remember now. So, probably going to go over my time here. Sorry. There's a lot more vocabulary these days, though, about talking about ourselves, ways that we can talk about ourselves, ways that we can want other people to talk about us. And I think that's brilliant, but there are a lot of people out there who get really, really cross. Oh, they get so cross about the way people like to identify themselves. I've been online dating recently, and I came across one guy's profile. I didn't come across it. As soon as I found your level of humour, haven't I? As soon as I saw his bio, my vagina just, no thank you, closed for business. Because his bio said, genuinely, I refuse to acknowledge anyone who uses pronouns. Ooh, I know. Now, my grammar nerds will know where I'm going with this. I'd like to think that that's a dead profile now, because at some point he had a sort of grammatical epiphany about the words I and anyone, and immediately by his own rules ceased to exist. The way that I like to talk about myself, though, the kind of box I like to put myself in, is to do with the way in which my brain is broken. A lot of my friends have anxiety. I suffer from depression because I was born on a Wednesday. I also have ADHD, and one of the symptoms that I experience has the best and the least appropriate name. Okay, it's a thing called executive dysfunction. Oh, executive dysfunction, what a name. It just means that you find it really difficult to kind of get going and do things, but what a name, executive dysfunction. Oh, ambassador.
With this executive dysfunction, you're really stopping me from going to the toilet or making my dinner. Sorry I couldn't attend your soiree last night. I was attending an executive dysfunction. I was just disassociating for a full hour in the middle of getting dressed, staring at my own arm. And not writing a final joke for the set. You've been absolutely brilliant. I unfortunately have been Chrissy Derbyshire. Thank you. Sorry, please ignore me. I wasn't here. You too.